What if I told you that the path to wealth creation and that the path to enlightenment, that personal development and wealth development are one and the same thing? And that unless you pursue a path of wealth creation, you will never truly live to your full potential, you will never be self-actualized, and you will always live way beneath your full potential. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. And in today's podcast episode, I intend to validate that claim. My name is Nathan J. Bishop, and this is Maximum Impact Unleashed. Freedom and peace of mind. To live an exceptional life, these are the two things you must have: freedom and peace of mind. Freedom is having the power to act, speak, and think as one so desires. It's being able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it with. The opposite of freedom is slavery. And in the context of this conversation, slavery is being powerless to act, speak, and do whatever one so desires. Peace of mind is being unencumbered by worry, what you will eat or drink, where you will live, or whether you will be secure or not. The opposite of peace of mind is stress, being inundated by the worry of what you will eat or drink, where you will stay, or that you will be secure. To live an exceptional life, one must have the power to act, speak, and think as one so desires, and to be unencumbered by the worry of what one will eat or drink, where one will live, or that one is secure. Being wealthy is the ability to do what you want to do, where you want to do it, with whomever you want to do it with, without jeopardizing your livelihood. That's freedom and peace of mind. Since both living an exceptional life and being wealthy are characterized by both freedom and peace of mind, we must conclude that the path to wealth creation and the path to living an exceptional life are one and the same thing. Now, the path to wealth creation should not be confused with getting rich, because while you could get rich, meaning you can gather a lot of money, you could still live a relatively miserable life. Because there's being alive and then there's living. And while having more money can help you with the being alive side of the equation, it cannot help you with the living, and more specifically, living an exceptional life aspects of the equation. The big difference is this: more money can absolutely help you with improving your standard of life, but more money simply can't help you with improving the quality of your life. Both the path to wealth creation and the path to living an exceptional life are characterized by both freedom and peace of mind, which means they are the same path. Let's personalize this idea and bring it to life, and here's how we'll do it. I'm going to ask you some questions related to living an exceptional life, and you can fill in the blanks. If you had all the money in the world, suffice to say, money wasn't an issue, what would you do? What are the top 5 things you would do with yourself if money wasn't an issue? What are the top 3? What are the indoor activities you would do? What are the outdoor activities would you do? What group activities would you do? What solo activities would you do? What book would you write? What instrument would you learn to play? Would you start learning MMA? Would you start doing yoga? What would you do with yourself if money were not a problem? Have you ever climbed Mount Kilimanjaro or seen the vast lands of Africa? If money wasn't an issue, where would you go? If it wasn't an issue, who would you spend your time with? A husband or wife, a child or parent, friends or family? Are you the type of person who loves to meet the perfect stranger? Or are you the type who loves an intimate conversation with an audience of one? If money was not an issue, who would you spend your time with? If money were not an issue, what would your physical and mental health look like? Would you finally have those rock-hard six-pack abs? Would you have that bikini body? Would you be out in the woods jogging or in the streets running a marathon? Would you finally start meditating? Would you take a vow of silence for a year? How would you challenge your physical and mental health? What would you do if money wasn't a problem. Now, I hope you've painted a very vivid picture for yourself of what an exceptional life would look like for you, what you would do, where you would do it, and who you would do it with. Now that you have this very vivid picture painted in your mind, I want you to realize that that is all it will ever be. A picture in your mind, a thought, but an idea, unless you do what must be done to bring it to fruition. Cogito ergo sum. These are the words of Rene Descartes, and all they mean is, I think, therefore I am. The expression suggests that life as we live it now is the consequence of how we think, or more specifically, what we think. If you think you can, and if you think you cannot, according to Henry Ford, you are both right. If you want to change the course of how things play out in your life, then it might serve you best to change the way things play out in your mind. If you believe that we are created in the image of God, as I do, well, God said, and then God saw. What are you saying that you now see? What's more important to note is all that we say begins as a thought in our minds. In the story of the Matrix, man is living in a computer-simulated reality and is made to believe that what is fiction, even though it is a pleasant fiction, is actually a reality. This is simply not the truth. The protagonist, whose name is Neo, meets Morpheus, and Morpheus's sole purpose is to free Neo's mind to the truth. And what is the truth? That the Matrix is a lie. It is the wool that has been pulled over our eyes. That in fact, man is living in a computer-simulated reality. That man is unconscious in a pod, and that the system is extracting man's life source, his energy from him, to sustain the system. Neo eventually chooses the truth over this pleasant lie that the system gives him. And when his eyes are opened, he sees three things differently. Number one, he sees things as they are and not as the system depicts it. Neo sees for the first time that man isn't out there living his best life, but in fact, man is a slave to the system, entrapped to work in it and have it extract his life energy from him. Number two, Neo sees himself for who and what he is, the one, the only one capable of bringing about the desirable end result and saving his loved ones. And finally, Neo sees the Matrix for what it is. Lines of code. And those lines of code represent rules. Rules that were written to benefit those who develop the system and not to benefit, but to enslave and keep working in the system those dependent on the system. When Neo accepts this truth and sees the Matrix for what it is, he is now super fast, super strong, can now fly, and now not only can he dodge bullets, but he can stop them with his mind. He changed the outcome that was designed by the Matrix, not by fighting the agents in the Matrix, but by changing or rewriting the rules, rewriting the code in the Matrix. But he has to do that by changing his mind. In the movie, when Neo goes to see the Oracle, who is the person who's supposed to tell him whether or not he is the one, while in the waiting room with other potential, he's fascinated when he sees a boy who appears to be bending a spoon with his mind. Starstruck, Neo cannot help but stare at the boy. Once the boy notices him, he hands Neo the spoon and says, "Don't try to bend the spoon with your mind. That is impossible. Instead, you must accept the truth." To which Neo asks, "What is the truth?" And the boy replies, "There is no spoon." That way you will see that it isn't the spoon that bends, but your mind. Now, The Matrix is a movie, and I do not believe that we are living in a computer-simulated reality and that the machines are sucking our life source from us. I don't believe this. But I do believe that there are some lessons we can and should learn from the movie, and they are this. Number one, there is a system, and that system is the economic system. And that system is made up of the governments, banks, the education, and employment systems. Governments back student loans by guaranteeing banks that they will pay back the loans if students default on the payments. Banks issue out student loans to future employees in the name of income from future production, but don't lend out business loans to future entrepreneurs in the same name. More than 80% of people who graduate from these conventional education institutions enter the employment market. Less than 20% of people who graduate from the same enter and become entrepreneurs. Upon graduation, newly graduates are now required to pay back the loans both in a repeatable and predictable fashion, and this happens on a monthly basis. The only vehicle designed to pay experts at the same rate is the employment market. There is no denying it. There simply is a system, and it is both structured and organized. The second lesson to learn is that there are rules to the system, and those rules benefit those who own, create, and run the system, but they keep working in and dependent on those within the system. If you've fallen for the financial fallacy of employment, here's what the rules look like for you. To be happy, one must have money. And to have money, one must have employment. And to have employment, one must have education. And so therefore, the best part to wealth creation is to trade your precious time for more money. Like Neo, the most important lesson to learn is you cannot beat the system by fighting the system, but by rewriting the rules in your favor. When it comes to laws, laws fall into two main categories: laws of nature and laws of man. The laws of nature are unchanging and affect the nature of our existence. For example, we were born and we will die. This law is unchanging and inescapable. But then there are the laws of man, and these laws are ever changing but affect the nature of our experience in existence. Once you understand that the experience you are having is the result of the rules made by men and agreement by key players in the economy, once you understand this, you can change your experience by changing the rules. And to change the rules, you've got to rewrite the rules. And you cannot change or rewrite the rules without first making a change in your mind. So what then shall we say? Is there a Neo-like character who's going to come and rescue us by rewriting the rules in our favor that we and our families might benefit from his great work and sacrifice? The answer is no. And if there was such a character, then this Neo character would be the one who benefits from the system and not us. Look, friend, answer me this. Who determines your hours of work and what you will do in that time frame? You or someone else? Who determines when you will go on leave and for how long you will go on leave? Is it you or someone else? Who determines your compensation, how much you will be compensated? Who determines whether you get a bonus or not and how much that bonus will be? Is it you or someone else? Is it possible that every single choice we make is the byproduct of the position we occupy in that system and not just our choice and agency? From the food we eat, to the clothes we wear, to the houses we stay in, to the schools we send our kids to every single thing we do, who determines what we do? Is it us, or instead what the system dictates you and I can have? Now, I'm not saying that you cannot have a good life from within the system. What I am saying is you cannot live an exceptional life working in the system. If you're going to live an exceptional life, then you are going to have to be the one who builds the system and writes the rules for that system so that those rules can benefit you. No one is going to save you. And if you don't save yourself, then you will be reduced to being a wage slave, someone who lives paycheck to paycheck. The funnel analogy. You will have money coming through you and not to you, and the only reason you know the money came is because of bank notifications that you get on your cell phone. You will be reduced to relying on a single source of income to sustain your entire livelihoods, live on 100% of your salary, and if anything happens that's outside of your budget, that's assuming your budget, you will be decimated. You must escape the matrix. There is no spoon except the spoon in your mind. There are no limitations except those in your mind. But here's the unfortunate truth. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. What will you fight for? Like Neo, The first step to transcending the financial fallacy of employment and blazing your own path to wealth creation begins with making a choice. For Neo, the choice was this. Either he chose the blue pill or he chose the red pill. For you and I, the choice is still the same. The blue or the red pill. If you choose the blue pill, well, life goes back to normal. Work 5 days to get 2 days off. Work 40 to 45 of the best years of your life for the remaining 15 or 20 years of your life. Years that you've spent away from loved ones, spent neglecting your physical and mental health, years spent away from living an exceptional life. If you choose the blue pill, not only is this the life you're going to live, but you're also going to believe that this life is an exceptional life. You will believe the lie. This is the wool pulled over your eyes. Or you can choose the red pill and we can see how far down the rabbit hole we go. In taking the red pill, you are choosing to see the system for what it is, structured and organized. A set of rules that are designed to benefit those who run and control the system and to keep those working in it dependent on it. You will have to see yourself for what you are, not the one, but the only one who is capable of making a change for both yourself and your family for generations to come. And you will have to see the nature of your experience for what it is. Rules made by man. And that those rules can be rewritten. And if you rewrite them in your favor, then you will live a favorable and exceptional life. There is no Neo except you. No one is going to make this change for you. No messianic figure is going to come down from heaven and rewrite the rules in your favor. If a change is going to happen, you are going to have to make that change happen. Wake up, Neo. The Matrix is here. In the next podcast episode, I'm going to be giving you some actionable steps on what you can do to transcend the financial fallacy of employment and live an exceptional life and blaze your own path to wealth creation. My name is Nathan J. Bishop, and this is Maximum Impact Unleashed.